Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. And as you can see here, we are on the Letgo app. I did have a couple of comments in some of my videos and also on my Twitter about some of the stuff they've added to this app, that things that you can now buy and sell, and cars tends to be one of the things that they're trying to push. It is like the first thing that shows up when they're doing their advertising, and they're trying to do that is more of a a way to sell your used car. So I decided to jump in and do a little video here just on some tips if you're looking to buy a car and using Letgo as a possible site to try and find what you're looking for, and also if you're trying to sell your car, how to take pictures, what you should include in your description, how many pictures you should take of your vehicle, things that you should block out, things that you should provide in the description, such like that. So for the first thing to start is obviously the picture, because here on the Letgo app, that is the first thing you see. I'm in the cars section for my area, and as we go down, that's the first thing you see is the picture of the car. Now, when you're taking pictures of your car, there's a couple things you want to do. Number one, make sure the car is clean. There is nothing worse than when you're looking at one of a car that's dirty, has leaves up on it. Just if you can't, let's say you can't even move the car because some of these cars aren't drivable. You're just selling them to try and get them out of your yard. Okay, that's understandable. Take a hose to it first if you can. It will make it much better as far as picture taking is concerned. So let's just take a look. We'll take the first one that popped up. It does look like, this is what I'm talking about. Just give it a hose down. I'm not saying you have to wax it all and everything like that, because obviously you're going to be looking for, the more expensive the vehicle, obviously, the more attention to detail you're going to want to take, because you are asking more of a premium price. Now, the first thing I see when looking at this Chevrolet Malibu, it's a 2001, and they have listed their price. The price doesn't jump out to me as super cheap or super expensive, so it is not a something that I would look at as a possible scam. Always look, if the price sounds way too good to be true, it probably is. And this is where the info will kind of come in. With all vehicles, there are a few things that you are going to want to know. And let's see what they provide for us here in the description. Now, not everything they need to provide you, because you can contact the person on here. Some of the stuff they may want to leave off. Things that you are going to want to know before you buy it that they may not include, because most won't include it. You want to ask them for the VIN number of the car. That is the identification number that is on all vehicles. It is listed numerous places on the vehicle. Most notably, it is up on the driver's side of the window, right where it meets the dash. And there should be a little opening in the plastic where it is riveted there, that you can read it from the outside of the car. You want to make sure that you can read that in that, because that is the most common one. Other ones are posted or stamped around the car. On the engine has some numbers that help you identify it as well. But that's, you really just want the VIN number so that you can do a little research on the vehicle. So we see here the car runs like new. That's good. Ice cold AC. Here in Florida, that is a very big deal. And that right there can add a good bit of money to the car, because there's very few people buying a car if you live in a hot climate does not have air conditioning. Good tires. Okay. The big thing also is I wish that this had a few more pictures. It only has the one picture included. It does list you the miles that are on the vehicle, which is awesome as well, and that they do speak Spanish. If you do have that availability, definitely put it on there, because a lot of people, if you're not sure if you can communicate with the person selling the car, they just overlook it. So if you do speak a different language, definitely put it on there because it is a good thing to have. You could see it hasn't been posted very long. It's actually fairly new. But they didn't give a whole lot of information, so there are questions that you are going to need to ask about this vehicle before you ever go out and look at it. If you have the availability to do a Carfax report, make sure you do that. That will tell you, to the best knowledge, what the history of the vehicle is. When you are buying vehicles that are low in the price value, and I say low is really anything under about $10,000, it may be, you may not be worrying so much about that, because it's always nice if you can have it, but on a vehicle that you're spending more than that, I would make sure that you go about getting one. I would also make sure that you have, if you don't have the knowledge yourself, that you have a mechanic look the car over, because when you're spending that type of money, you need to make sure that that you're getting the vehicle, that you're getting what you're actually paying the money for. When you're buying used cars for, like I said, this $1,100 price point, that may not be something you're so much worried about. But as the person buying this car, when you're looking, you're going to say, hey, I wish I had some more pictures. Really, 5 pictures is what I would say when posting a car. You want to get the front, you want to get the rear, and you want to get one side of the vehicle. Preferably, if you get both sides, 4 exteriors, so you get the 4 sides. So that would make it actually a 6. If you didn't want to get both sides, just one will suffice. You want one of the interior, and you want one of the engine bay. Some of these sites limit the number of pictures you can put up, so that's obviously an issue there. But that one only has 1 picture. Let's pick the next one. I haven't pre-looked at these, but okay, here we go. This car is a Nissan Maxima, 2008, $3,800. Once again, not jumping out as anything crazy as far as, if you're seeing stuff if you would see this was like a 2014 and you were looking at this price, you want to know really what the miles are, what happened to the vehicle, because something's happened. They just you don't sell them for that cheap. So we'll look down through the pictures and let's see. The car looks pretty clean, so that's the wheels, at least on this side, are matching. Ideally, you'd like the tires to be the same too. That's a big selling point as well. As you can see now, you at least get the rear and the side. Another tip, if you are selling, take your license plate off of the car. Do not take a picture and let the whole world see your license plate. If you do, blur it out, put something over it if you're still driving the car as you're trying to sell it. But don't take pictures with your license plate. It's just not a very good practice to put out there. It's setting you up for trouble. So we do see sides of the car. Everything looks good. Okay. They got the interior. The interior looks clean. This is what I'm talking about when you're taking pictures. Make sure you get all the areas of the car that people are going to want to see. And there's one of the back seat. The one that we don't see here that I normally like to see included is the engine bay, because it does give you at least a condition. And if it is not included in the actual description, which we don't see, it does, Maximas, is there a different engine option? What engine is in the car that it is? Now, you could also contact this person with questions about that, and that is something, as the seller, you should be ready to provide if somebody asks. If somebody is asking you about the car, it is not uncommon for them to ask you about the VIN number of the car, because that is how they're going to find out, what the car actually is, what its options were, and everything. That will tell you just about everything you need to know about the car. It allows them to do, if they're going to do a Carfax report on the car, it allows them to do that and find out what the history of this car is, what it was reported. It will also tell you, is there any recalls on the car that they potentially have to deal with that you may not know about. So these are all things that also, just in car buying in general, not just here on Letgo, you should ask for from, especially if you're at a dealer. You should ask for sure. If it's a manufacturer dealer or whether it's a used car dealer, you should ask for that. Anyway, let's see if we could find a couple of examples of stuff that people could do a little better. You see this Volkswagen Beetle. I would be a little more inclined to not include so much of your house in the picture. Get more of the car because, like I talked about in my one video, you don't need to advertise for sure where you're living at. It's going to show you pretty good information where the listing was put up, but you don't need to advertise a little more information that somebody could potentially come and get your vehicle. Let's take a look at this picture here. Just nitpicking a little bit, I would move the kids' toys and all out of the way in doing so. And it also, just at looking at it, looks like the damage on there. I would get a few more pictures because people are going to ask you that for sure. It will just save you a lot of time in questions coming from other people. Let's see what they disclose about it. Only needs upper control arms, I guess. That's what it's supposed to be. Cosmetic runs great. It needs body work, but engine and transmission is great. And it has a new radio, make and off, or no carpet inside. There are a couple that no carpet inside makes me wonder what exactly happened to the car, because it is very odd to have the carpet totally removed from a car. It tends to be an issue with flood damage vehicles. So when you see something like this, you see price negotiable. It makes me a little suspect as to what about this car. They should have a price that's as wacky as it could be. There still should be a price on this car. So, negotiable, you could put it up there. It is an option, but you need to set a price. If you're trying to sell a car, you need to set a price. If not, you're just asking for to be buried in questions about this car. That's why you need more pictures as well. The more pictures and the more info you provide to the person, the better off you're going to be, because if not, you're going to be answering questions constantly. Here's another one here. Just pull it outside and take the picture. It lets you see a much better look of the car. It does have some more pictures, so let's see. Maybe it's not mobile in here. It's always better if you can let the light hit the vehicle. But like you said, you're talking about a $600 vehicle. It is a 98 Ford Ranger. But they did very nicely take a picture of the inside, which is good. This is another one that is always nice to see. And that is the picture of the odometer, so you can see, what the actual mileage is on the vehicle. That is not to say that it can't be doctored, but with what they're trying to sell it for, with the price they're trying to sell it for, it's nice to see. Cleat title needs a transmission and drive shaft. The motor runs great. Okay, the questions I would have to ask on here: does the transmission need to be repaired, or is it missing from the vehicle? If it is missing from the vehicle, that may explain why the picture wasn't taken outdoors. But that is always good things to put on here. That's good to put on there, but I would give a little more information. Like I said, pictures are always great to have. But also in your description, put as much information about the car. What model is it? What options does it have? Because that's all things people are going to want to know, and they are going to ask you about. So as the seller, provide this information. It makes it a lot better. We'll jump in here, take a look at this Explorer. Looks okay as far as where they have it. Like I said, I try not to include so much of your house, and I don't see any signs or anything for landmarks. But I always like to make sure that it okay, so you get clean title, runs great. The one thing that we do not know about this vehicle is we have no idea on mileage. So that's something that should definitely be included in this. You are for sure going to get questions about that as well. I'm not sure what actually just happened. It looks like we jumped back out to the main screen. So let me jump back into the car section, and we will continue on our little talk about things that we hope to see. This is an odd one, and this I kind of wonder. This Mercedes here. Not that there is anything wrong. Okay, so now you're seeing a price of $23,500. Could be a good price for the car. Let's see what they show and what they tell us about it. Alright, you are getting a shot, although it does make it a little harder to read, but it is an actual shot of some interior. That's nice to see, and they did show you, and it is a AMG, so let's see what they tell us in here. Go to a new family, put priorities first. 76,000 miles. It's asking 23,500 or best offer. Alright, no check engine lights, no leaks. It has a clean title. Interior's super good. Exterior's, they're saying, is very good as well. Fully loaded. See, this is the type of information that is good to see. And with a car that you're asking this much money for, this is what I would expect to see, because it's going to be rare using this app. Most people will need to finance this type of money. It's not stuff that a lot of people will show up with cash to pay you on. So you have to remember, generally, people selling on here are private sellers. They are not a dealership. So you just have to remember that. But overall, this is kind of what you are looking to, this is what you're looking to get out of your pictures and out of your description. That type of description will go a long way. Some of the maintenance about the car is nice to see, that people can read. As you can see, they did not show their license plate. It is blurred out. That is exactly what you should do there. Take note of this one here, because this is one of the best examples. Show that interior. Show the engine bay, because you are going to get questions. And I don't know what's going on with the app here. We may have frozen up a second. But like I'm saying, show as much as you can. I think it's because people keep posting stuff new. But that's what you're looking for when you're posting cars here on Letgo. It doesn't give you as much of the space as a lot of some other sites where it allows you to put in some other information. But fill out that description as best you can, because that will save you a ton of questions in the future. I'm trying to see if I can find any. The problem with it is there's so many, and yours is going to be totally different in your area. Here's one that you really should. I mean, I don't know if that's that's just a vanity Florida tag on the front, because here in Florida we're not required to have front tags, so that it's not an official tag. I was gonna say, well, doing stuff like that is not always the best thing to do. A good example of what you could do, even on a car like this, the body looks pretty clean, is take some time and just scrub those wheels. Get the brake dust off of them. It makes a big difference when you're viewing them. But like I said, for $1,000, it is not, all they're giving you is the miles. You would like to know a little more about the car. It will just save you some, a lot of questions down the road. So if I was posting this vehicle, I would year, make, model, mileage, everything that I can. I know you have it, the Mercury Grand Marquis. 2001. Repeat it in your description because you want to let them know exactly what it is. If there's a submodel, let them know what the submodel is. The engine size, let them know what size engine's in it, because that's kind of the basic block of information that people are going to want to know. If it's an older car, is it an automatic or is it a manual? That's another thing. It's not so much of a big deal as you're selling newer cars because there are fewer and fewer manual transmissions. More so, you may want to disclose if you know if your car has a CVT transmission in it or not, because a lot of people do not particularly care for them, or maybe they do. But that's the type of thing. How many, if you happen to know, how many gears your transmission is, there are options for all this that, it sounds like somebody's, I guess they're working on something outside. Sorry for all the extra noise. But I actually do have a microphone coming that I ordered to hopefully take care of some of that stuff here. But as I go through, there are some things that, these make me wonder. You see this $1,500 cash price, cold AC, doing stuff like that's not bad. It brings your attention to the picture a little more. Let's take a look and see what, whether they offer any more pictures. They do. Here's some of the vehicle actually on the road. Once again, they're showing the interior, and there you go. There's a good example of showing the tires. Are the tires good? That's at least one of them. I don't know that it's necessary to show that, but it's okay. Any extra pictures are good. Your description, they have plenty of stuff in the description. They're a firm asking price, serious inquiries. They give you the address of if you want to come look at the vehicle. Most people are going to want to look at the vehicle in person before they put any money. That's just how it is. And if you're doing so, make sure it's in a safe location. Make sure you feel safe. Make sure you bring somebody with you, and check to see if you're going to be able to test drive the vehicle. You're going to learn a lot from driving the vehicle. If you don't know what to look for, bring somebody that does, or hire somebody that does, because that is where you're going to find out a lot of things about a vehicle. I will do a separate video. If you would all like, let me know in the comments if you'd like to know about what you're supposed to look for when buying a vehicle to make sure that you're getting the best vehicle possible. I was a mechanic for Mazda for a number of years, and I also had my state inspection before I moved down to Florida. So I did a number of inspections on vehicles, and I would be happy to make other videos if that's what you want to know about, and quick things to look for to help to make sure you're not buying the wrong vehicle, or more so an unsafe vehicle, because they are out there with a number of the natural disasters this past year. There are a whole lot of them out there, ones that are in salvage titles that aren't being disclosed and such. So there are many things to look for. Everything that you're going to look for in first is, does the price meet the vehicle? Because if the price is too low, and I don't mean, hey, that's a great deal. I mean, there is no way they are selling this car for this price. There is something wrong. They would not be trying to get rid of the car so cheap if there wasn't a problem. If it's on there, ask questions about it. Why is the price so low? Make sure that you get the VIN number, do a little research on it, find out, is this person the owner? If the title, if you're going to buy a car and they produce you a title that is not the name of the person selling you the car, back away from the deal. If it's a dealership, that's different. If it's a used car dealer, it's different. But if the person selling you the car is not the person on the title, be very questionable about whether that car does in fact belong to them. A lot of people will buy a car, never redo the title, so the car has been sitting for who knows how long. in somebody else's name and they just left the signature from that person and they left it undated, it is a way to, a lot of people will do it as a way to get around not having the late charges for not registering the vehicle on time and such like that. Also, be wary of people that want you, to say that they bought the car for less money than what you are actually selling it for, because they're trying to save money on the taxes. You can do that if you want. That's solely up to you. I just try, and especially when you're dealing with stuff that's going to be registered with the government, be as honest as possible, because things always come back, and at the way they are now, it will fall back to you if there's something that becomes an issue or something like that. That's why if you're selling your vehicle, always sign and date, because a lot of people want you not to put a date on it because they don't want to have to head straight to their motor vehicles or wherever and register the vehicle. They're trying to get out of, they're trying to either flip the car again and not have to deal with paying the money to have the title put in their name and such like that. Be wary of stuff like that. Like I said, in the comments, let me know if you want to know a little more about what you should look for in buying and inspecting a car in general. But if you do not, my best advice for you would be find somebody that does and have them go with you to look at cars. Same thing when you're selling cars. Make sure your car is in a safe condition. If it's not, be straight up with the people buying it. Hey, this car's got problems, because guess what? If something happens, and you can sue anybody for anything nowadays, make sure that you're as honest as possible as people, and make sure that you write on the bill of sale for the vehicle, this car is being purchased as is. You're not putting a warranty on the car. They are aware of everything that's wrong with the vehicle to your best of your knowledge, and that you haven't tried to hide anything. You sign it, they sign it, you keep a copy, they keep a copy, and that will help protect you as well. You can find out more about that. Just do a Google search on how to write a bill of sale for a car and what it should include, and that will really help you out as far as getting you covered as best as possible, because like I said, God forbid something would happen and it would fall back on you. You need to have that paper right there will go a long way as far as clearing up issues. Also, if the car would have been, you purchased a car and for some reason the car was stolen, having the paperwork needed, you're still going to end up probably losing the car and losing the money, but you may not end up in jail yourself because you have this information. So make sure that you do the research. Big purchases, always do the research. I would recommend this with any sort of electronics. I'm going to do future videos on how, when you're on Letgo, looking at cell phones and electronics, because that's another thing that you need to be careful about, because that stuff has serial numbers and that stuff's been registered at times, and buying it secondhand is not always the safest way to get some stuff. So I thank you all for watching the video. Please hit that like button. Please, comments, questions, anything you want to know about, I will do my best to answer you. I am by no means a legal person, so there's always legal work that, for stuff like this that needs to be done. I'm not one of them people. I was a mechanic. I know what to look for. I know how people try to hide things on vehicles as not to make them aware. And if you'd like to know a little more about that, I can do more about it. I tend not to. Maybe that's something for another YouTube channel than this one. But right now we're focusing on the app Letgo, and being that they are getting into selling more and more vehicles, what you can do through this app that allows you to do that. the biggest thing, like I said, we'll jump back in with the Letgo app, is this button down here that says send next to it. Questions. If you're buying, ask questions, because that is how you're going to get the best car for your money. Questions, questions, questions. If they can't provide you the answer to some of the basic ones, question, the validity of the sale. A lot of people just don't know about their cars. Okay, can you come look at the car? Can you bring a mechanic with you to come look at the car? If they tell you no, question it. They will most likely tell you yes, you can come look at the car. If they say no, you can't test drive the car, I would even question it at that point, because you always want to buy a car that you can test drive yourself. I understand lots of people won't have dealer tags and stuff like that. The car may be sitting, it may not be tagged, and they are letting somebody, a stranger, come and test drive their vehicle, which, isn't always the best thing. But as a buyer, that is something that you will want to do, is you will want to drive the car. And if as a seller you're worried about stuff like that, then maybe this is not the route that you should go to sell your car. Maybe trading your car in, or taking it to one that will give you cash for, I know there's a number of companies out there that will just buy you without you having to buy anything from them. But that is available as well too. But here on Letgo, these are the things that you should look for. Use that send button down there. Ask the questions that they give you, the quick responses, because that is ultimately how you're going to get the knowledge of, is this vehicle a good buy or not. Of course, go in, check for the blue book price of the vehicle. Hopefully the picture should give you a good job of the condition, and you will be you'll be going to see this person with the best knowledge of the price that the vehicle should be, the condition the vehicle should be, and hopefully there'll be no surprises, and you can work a deal out. I have not sold a car here on Letgo. I will put that out there, just because I haven't had a car to sell, and I haven't had a car to buy here on Letgo. But I have sold a number of parts and a number of items here. So the same thing goes with car parts. If you watched my video before about how when I listed that transmission on there, stuff like that will always help you get through buying and selling here on Letgo. This is not a sponsored video. It is just an app that I use to sell a number of products that I no longer use. It's a good way to find extra stuff, and most of the people are around you, so they are your neighbors. So enjoy the fact that you're meeting some people as well in your area. So if you're just moving to an area, it is also a good way to find your way around the area and stuff like that. I thank you all, and like I said, please hit the like button, like, and leave questions if you have questions. I thank you all, and as always, have a good day.